There's a video going viral right now. AI bringing Michael Jackson back from the dead, making him steal KFC chicken, singing in his voice, dancing his moves. It is hilarious and technically incredible, and it absolutely terrifies me as a father. Not because of what the technology can do, but because of what I saw in my son's eyes when he watched it for the first time. What I discovered that night changed how I think about protecting childhood in the age of artificial intelligence. It's Sunday evening. We're doing what we always do as a family, just kind of hanging out together. There's a show on TV. We've just finished dinner. The weather is finally starting to turn into fall, and I'd been looking forward to that pot roast that I'd cooked all week. And it was everything that I dreamt it would be. In any case, we're in that pre-bedtime space where everyone's just kind of winding down, right? The TV is on, our son is driving his construction vehicles around on the couch, and my wife and I have our phones in our hands, just kind of scrolling through whatever catches our attention, right? And that's when I see it.
Run, spin, slide, I'm gliding out the door. Fried love in my arms, can't give it up no more. Hey.
An AI-generated video of Michael Jackson stealing KFC chicken from people. Now, I've been actively avoiding the whole Sora AI hype. I work in software, but I have an artist's heart, and I've had concerns about where all this technology is heading. What happens to creativity when AI can instantly generate anything that we imagine? What happens to wisdom when we outsource our thinking? So, beyond work hours at least, I've been kind of keeping my distance, protecting myself from having to confront those really difficult questions. But I was a huge Michael Jackson fan growing up. I'm the guy who does the moonwalk at the wedding, did it at my own wedding even. And my wife knows this about me. It's one of the things that made me me when we met. So when I see this video, despite all my reservations, I click. And I'm blown away. The voice sounds exactly like Michael. The dance moves are perfect. It feels like he's living in the TikTok generation, singing a custom song about KFC that the AI made up on the spot. It's hilarious, compelling, and technically incredible. My immediate reaction is to laugh out loud. And I do what I often do when I find something surprisingly funny in this moment. I pass my phone to my wife. "You gotta see this," I say. She takes the phone and starts watching. But I'm not watching the video anymore, right? I am watching her reaction. And that's when my 3-year-old son scrambles over from the other side of the couch. Because he knows when mama has her phone out, they often watch TikTok together. He's learned this pattern. Screen equals entertainment. So suddenly I'm watching both of them watch this AI Michael Jackson. And I see completely different expressions on their faces. My wife has this bemused, slightly disturbed look, that, "Wow, I can't believe this is happening" reaction. She understands the technical impossibility of what we're witnessing. She knows that this isn't real. She has context. But my son, his eyes are wide, completely absorbed, taking in the fast cuts and loud sounds and energy, processing this from a completely different vantage point. He's not amazed that AI can resurrect Michael Jackson. To him, this is just normal. This is reality. And watching him, watching those wide eyes soak in this artificial creation like it's just another video, I feel something I can only describe as grief. Because I start thinking about my own childhood, how I discovered the artists that I so admired. I remember pausing Michael Jackson music videos and running them frame by frame on VHS tape that I'd recorded after waiting all day for MTV to run the one that I was looking for. Trying to mimic every move, studying, practicing, struggling. But even more than that, I think about another childhood hero of mine, Michael Jordan. Growing up in Southern Illinois in the 90s while the Bulls were winning all those championships, I'm absolutely obsessed with him. I have a binder full of Michael Jordan basketball cards, and I study all of his poses, the way that he looks in midair, the expression on his face, the angle of his body, Then I go outside and I try to recreate those exact moments. We happen to have a trampoline in our backyard as well, and a tree that's on the side of the yard. And one day, as I'm struggling to get the height in my dunk attempts that I'm after, I realize something. I can drag that trampoline under that tree limb, use the branch as a basketball hoop. I see these two separate things, the trampoline and the tree, and I connect them in my imagination. I drag the heavy trampoline across the lawn by myself, position it just right under that tree branch, and suddenly I have my own Michael Jordan slow motion training facility. I spend hours out there pretending that I can fly like Mike, hanging from the rim and everything, manufacturing these environments in my mind, creating these worlds through pure imagination and then physical effort. And that's how I sort of learned to dream as a kid, right? That's how I developed the part of me that can envision something that doesn't exist and then work to make it real. But my son, he's growing up in a world where AI can instantly create a perfect Michael Jackson performance with zero effort, where he's constantly being fed content instead of having to create it himself. And watching him absorb that video, I realize what I'm really afraid of. I'm afraid that all this instant access, all of this outsourced creativity might suck something vital out of him. You see, my son is incredibly imaginative right now, just like I was at his age. He takes blankets and sheets and makes ghost costumes out of them, right? He reenacts scenarios from some of the shows that he's seen, sings the songs. He has that same creative and performative spark that I remember having as a kid. But I worry about what happens to that spark as he gets exposed to more technology, more instant gratification, more perfectly generated content that requires no effort or imagination from anyone. Because here's what I've noticed about people. We are educated by our environment, and we often take the easiest route through the forest when it's offered. But we begin as these amazing creative creatures, and then our circumstances sort of shape us from there. And if those circumstances are constantly providing everything instantly without requiring us to struggle or create or imagine, then what happens to the dreaming? People get dumber as they outsource their thinking, their preferences, their creativity. And it's going to be harder and harder for my son, for all of our kids, to not instantly outsource everything that they want to achieve. So what do? How do we protect that vital spark in a world designed to replace it? In that moment, watching my family consume this AI content, I make a decision. I get up. I head downstairs to my office. I grab an extra silver sheet of vinyl I'd used the day before to black out my curtains, and I make myself a silver ghost costume. My son has never seen anything like it. At first, he doesn't even really know what it is. When I tell him it's a ghost, his eyes light up in a way that I haven't seen all evening. "It's a silver ghost," he says. He immediately wants to be that silver ghost too. It's near Halloween now, and we chase each other around the house making ghost sounds, switching to different classic monsters, mummies, zombies, werewolves, some of his favorites, whatever we can imagine. Getting lost in that pure play mindset. And I'm back in that state that I also knew as a kid, the state where I am dreaming with him. I'm in it. He talks about that silver ghost for days afterward. He actually got upset this morning when he couldn't find the sheet that we'd used to play that night. And as I'm helping him look, I realize what Sora AI, what all of this technology really teaches us about parenting. It's not about rejecting technology or pretending the digital world doesn't exist. It's about recognizing that when you see something special in your child, that creative spark, that imagination, that thing that makes them uniquely themselves, You can't just assume it will survive on its own. You have to actively nurture it. You have to compete for their attention and their development, because there will always be perfectly generated content designed to capture their focus. There will always be instant gratification available at the touch of a screen. But there's something irreplaceable about the struggle of creating something from nothing, about dragging a trampoline under a tree to chase your dreams, about making a ghost costume from a sheet and inventing new worlds together. These moments teach us that we have the power to create, not just consume. They teach us that our imagination has value. They teach us that the effort required to make something real is part of what makes it meaningful. So when you see your child light up about something that they've created, whether it's a blanket fort or a drawing or a silly dance, remember that you're witnessing their true nature in this moment. And please nurture it. Don't assume it will carry through in spite of all the competition for their education and exposure. Because in a world where AI can instantly generate anything that we can imagine, the most valuable thing we can teach our children is that they have something unique to contribute. Something that can only come from their own dreams, their own effort, their own imagination. Something that no algorithm can replicate. The silver ghost that my son and I created that night wasn't technically perfect. I didn't even get the eyes sorted out right, so we couldn't either properly see through it. But it was ours, And a week later, he is still dreaming about it. That's what we're really protecting when we choose to engage their creativity instead of just handing it over to a screen. We're protecting their ability to dream. In a world of infinite artificial possibilities, that might be the most human thing that we can give them. So here's what I want you to take away. The next time you see that spark of creativity in your own child or anyone that you care about, nurture it. Don't let it compete alone against algorithms designed to hijack their attention. Jump in, make that silver ghost with them. Drop a comment below and tell me, what's one way that you've actively protected imagination in your own home? And speaking of what our kids might miss, I had another moment with my son recently that made me realize sometimes we spend our whole lives facing the wrong direction, following rules that we never chose. And we have no idea what we're missing until we finally turn around. It's right over here when you're ready. And thanks for watching.